Welcome to Fuzzybutts and Friends. As much as it irritates Fuzzybutts around the world, I'm your host of Fuzzybutts and Friends, your big dog, Luke Robinson. And I'm just slap happy to welcome back this week our occasional co-pilot and co-host, the executive director of the Puppy Up Foundation, Ginger Morgan. How are you this time?
I am doing well. It's a little cooler here in Memphis, so that makes me very happy, and it makes it easier to walk the dogs.
There is a bit of a cold spell. You're exactly right. Well, listen, Ginger, we're getting popular, more and more popular, and I think it's time for us to talk about an intro song. So this weekend, I was actually composing an intro song for Fuzzybutts and Friends on my air guitar. So would you like to hear a little chords, maybe? No.
Sure.
Nope.
Sure.
Nope. Well, I think if I did that, I think we'd have Fuzzybutts all over the world howling when they heard me do my air guitar. But I do think it's time for us to have an intro to our show. But I wanted to start off this episode on a lighthearted note because our guest this week combines two of my favorite things in the world, and that is dogs and comedy. Gila Kurtz, she's the founder and CEO. She's the mastermind, the creative genius behind Dog is Good out in the West Coast. Gila, how are you?
I am great. And I just want to add to that. I wish I was the sole founder and sole genius behind the brand, but I really do have to give credit. I'm actually the co-founder. My husband is my partner and co-founder too. And together ourselves and our team are the creators around the brand.
Did I say so? I knew your husband was a big part of it because we met you I'm a knucklehead. I sometimes, the other day on one of my podcasts, I said I walked 2,400 miles on walk one. And I listened, and I said it multiple times. And I'm like, why did I say that? I know it was 2,300 miles. So of course, because we were on the West Coast, a bit of a history, Gila, between you and the Puppy Up Foundation and Ginger and I, is that on walk two on the West Coast, Ginger and I both met you and your husband. We spent some wonderful time there at your shop there in California. Where are you guys based out of? I forget.
Yeah, Los Alamitos, California, about 40 miles south of LA.
Yeah, that's right. And your husband, what is his name again? John. Now, you guys make a wonderful, wonderful partner combination. Speaking of combos, dogs and comedy. He's former military, and I think actually he was the comedy guy, the comedy piece. Am I correct when I was looking at your website?
John is very clever, incredibly clever. And yet his delivery, he's very stoic in appearance. Sometimes I always tell people what you see is what you get. This guy is like, even Steven, but he's got a great sense of humor, and yes, he's very clever.
Yeah, he cracked me out. But I was just reading some of the funny sayings that you have on your website. But I wanted to kind of start off with reading your story, sort of what the mission of Dog is Good. And it's a word that I had absolutely no idea how to pronounce until I Googled how to pronounce it. And it came up with a similar word that actually I recall from my youth or something, Dogvergnügen. And I was like, Dogvergnügen. I know what Dogvergnügen because it sounds familiar. And then I had to look up what that was. And actually, Dogvergnügen came from a VW automobile commercial. Mm-hmm. And that meant the pleasure, the joy of driving. And so that's what is it. So is it pronounced Dogvergnügen? Is that right?
It's Dogvergnügen.
Of course, I messed it up.
John says it really, really well. Dogvergnügen. And when we were early on just determining what our brand was about, when somebody asked us, what are you about actually? And we described it as we really are a brand that emphasizes and highlights this unique relationship that we have with our dogs. But it's really that feeling that is created when you are with your dog, and we all know what that is. You just feel different. It feels good. I saw it all morning this morning when I was out holding the puppy while we were going on for a walk, and people just lit up, and that's Dogvergnügen in action. For us, it's delivering the unique joy and pleasure that one feels when they're in the presence of a dog.
And that you do. And you just reminded me what I think, and I may be mistaken, I think is your flagship product or your best-selling product you gave me, you and John were so wonderful. You gave Ginger and I a bunch of merchandise from Doggergood. We were out there, and you gave me in particular, because so relevant to my story, our story, and that is never walk alone. And as those people that know me in the history of Fuzzybutts and Friends, I've walked 4,000 miles with my companions, my Fuzzybutts, for canine cancer. And I just had on a previous episode, Gila, John Stalls, who has also, well, he's walked a lot more miles than I have, and he's walked some with his dog, and some canoa, and some without his dog. And we were talking about that, and I was like, I don't think I wanted to walk without my dogs. First off, nobody would really care about me if I was out there walking without my dogs, which they probably shouldn't, right? But more importantly, from a humanistic, spiritualistic, fulfillment perspective, I don't want to walk alone. So I love that saying of yours.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite sayings as well. I don't know if this is only audio, if it's audio and visual. You can see that on my wall. I keep the message front and center because it is a tremendous reminder. Not only do I personally, like you, Luke, not want to walk alone, there is something very deeply connecting when you are doing this when you are walking with your dog. But to me, it's a dual message, right? In life, we don't walk alone. When you are seeking the guidance and support of others, or you are serving your community as a guide or support for others, it really creates an exponential level of impact. And I know that's certainly what you guys do with Puppy Up.
You're absolutely right. That's also what John and I were talking about. I said that there really are three parts to walking. The first is I had a personal reason. I had grief. And the second is I had a cause or a reason for the community. And that you're exactly right. I would not have walked if I was doing it for just myself. My walks they're not set up as self-edification or gratification, not for me. Yes, I derive some sense of profound catharsis, I guess, a way to deal with grief from the loss of my companions, my mates from cancer. But I have to walk for Puppy Up, the foundation, for a cause. And you're right. I love the dual meaning of that now, that even if you do walk alone, you're really not walking alone, because you're always part of nature and you're part of a bigger community. Wow. Thank you for that.
Yes.
So that gets me into what I wanted to talk about. I guess Ginger and I were discussing kind of as we started the show about your product lines. So tell us about Doggers. So we know what your mission now. It's about the joy and pleasure of dogs and companions, and that's so essential to not only life but also the show. So tell us about how you've taken sort of that mission and sort of the spirit of comedy and incorporating that with dogs and then productized it. Take us to that.
Yeah, well, that is such a great question. It's interesting too. And I think for anybody who has started and embarked on something new, you engage with a mission. You have your desired outcome. It's what drives you to do what you do. And then as you continue through that process, ultimately, you're evolving as well, whether, as a company or as a person. And so Dogvergnügen is our mission, delivering the unique joy you feel in the presence of dogs. But I've also seen over the past few years where our mission has continued to expand and evolve to encompass another sentiment that I refer to as changing lives, one dog at a time. We know dogs change the way you see the world. It's very obvious for anybody who's a dog owner, their lives truly get transformed. And so the combination of the two really has become the core essence that we use to create messaging and products. And we do so with in two arenas. You have your humor that you're referencing, which is what every dog lover, dog owner experiences, whether it's all fun and games until someone ends up at a cone, or I like and I cannot lie. There's a lot, or oh my, OMG, I forgot to have children, which is a pop art message that resonates really well.
I love that one.
Yeah. And a lot of people do, or they know someone who's like, I got to get this for my aunt or my sister. The sentimental messages, though, that really hit home are the other element that we really are experts at. And then the third piece is the lifestyle. So as dog lovers, we feel very deeply connected. So messages like dog codependent, where you go, where I go, dog follows, where I stop, dog settles, this beautiful message that literally makes people cry when they connect with it. Or a dog can change the way you see the world. These are more sentimental, heart-centered messages that people go, God, yes, I relate to this so much. And then you have things like never camp alone, never hike alone, live life with dog, and it's an RV. And people go, gosh, that's me. I RV with my dog, I camp with my dog, or I hike with my dog. And then you have, of course, the humor, which I just mentioned. And so what we do is we really, as a company, are not a product company. That is the products are the tangible that deliver our desired outcome, which is to connect deeply with the heart, the soul, the humor, and the mind of the dog lover. And the products just create all of that for them. So when they're seeing something, they're laughing, and they're remembering them. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta have this. Or they're crying, literally, happy tears, because it means so much to them. Or they're saying, yeah, man, this is how I live my life. This is who I am as a person, as a dog lover, and this is how I live my life. And so the message can go on any product. We're known for our apparel and our gifts and our home decor products. We also are introducing things for pets, though, too. Some basic pet products in the area of nutrition. We have a dog water bottle that's really popular, too. But it's the messaging that connects with them. The products can be anything. And then we also license our brand, too, to other manufacturers that will take our designs for the same reason we create them. It connects with their customers and put them on their products. I'm literally just looking at something sitting right here on my desk that I was reviewing, which is, these are licensed, these are car air fresheners. And there's 3 in this product, 2 humor. I like big mutts and I cannot lie. It's all fun and games till tone. And then the piece that people go, that's me, never travel alone. I don't want to go anywhere without my dog.
Yeah, that's some next level stuff, what you were just saying a second ago, because as you know, that I come from the business world, and what I learned early on is that you can do all sorts of things. You can have a commodity, sell a commodity, or you can take that, which is the most basic component or raw material, something, or you can take that and you add to that and develop it into a product, right? Or you could take that product and you can make it into a service, like a coffee bean into a can of coffee versus a pot of coffee. Or then you could do what, say, Starbucks or independent coffee companies have done and make it into an experience or a lifestyle. And that's the next level thing that you guys have done, is that you've taken basically your simple message of the joy or pleasure of experiencing dogs into a lifestyle, which is, Gila, is really the premise or the basis of Fuzzybutts and Friends. This is not a show about canine cancer. And then more importantly, Puppy Up and my walks, the message that I deliver on my walks is not about dogs with cancer. It's about how we value dogs in society, our companions in society. Not just dogs. I'm a dog guy. Ginger's more of a cat person, but Fuzzybutts and Friends are about all of our. I know we're gonna get lots of hate emails from cat people, but I love you guys. Fuzzybutts and Friends are about all of our Fuzzybutts, are about companions in society, and it's extremely important now, Gila. I feel like that we are constantly doing. Anyone in this business, whether you have a podcast show, whether you are selling a message or a lifestyle, if you're profiting from our companions, then you should be in the business of increasing the value of our companions in society, or at least that should be your message, is that, hey guys, we need to value these our companions much higher than what we're doing in every facet, not only in the terms of the quality of cancer care that we give, the quality of medical treatment, but also the love, the general love, and also what we learn from them. So I love that. You are next level, Gila. I love it. I love talking to
that's
you.
such a lovely compliment. I really appreciate that.
So now that you established was that you really just are focused on the lifestyle of talk about what, and you have so many great products. What do you walk us through sort of the world of I know you do your business is primarily like break down your business. I think when we talked last you do a lot of human apparel, right? Is that correct?
Yes, we are mostly, our company was created specifically for the dog lover. Initially, we actually had nothing for dogs right out of the gate. We wanted to capture that market because there was no market. There was nothing in that space. And so the categories that we create are apparel, which would be t-shirts, hoodies, hats, outerwear, those kinds of things. Then we do accessory type products like tote bags, and then lots of gift items, car magnets, decorative magnets, oh my gosh, coffee mugs, plaques, wall plaques, for the home, decorative type things. And then we also, for the dog, we have the specialized patented dog water bottle, which is great. We just introduced another design for that product. And we have new nutrition products, one that has been phenomenal. It is the mobility formula Bolo broth. Bolo is the name of our logo dog, the little dog with the halo, and it stands for Be on the Lookout. But Bolo broth is a powder food topper. It is top of its class. Just won an award this past year as best food topper of its class. It's functional and it's designed to improve mobility for dogs. The testimonials that we're getting back on this thing is amazing. And then it also has all the, important ingredients, the probiotics, the prebiotics, et cetera. And so we are creating a whole line. It's the first of three. There'll be something for skin and coat, and there'll be something for, oh my gosh, I'm at a loss now. I'm trying to remember the third one. Forgive me. I completely just.
No worries. That's a lot.
But
That's
yeah. But anyway, so there's three products in that line. And then we're coming out with, the first and only product available for pets. It is not a CBD product. We are partnering with a company based out of Canada. And I emphasize it is not CBD, but it is made from the hemp seed, and the polyphenols that are extracted is a patented process, the way in which they extract it. Literally 30 times more effective than non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. It is incredible. And so we're really excited to bring this to market to the US this summer.
I'm very fascinated in that product because we just dropped our last episode 17 of Fuzzybutts and Friends, which is dogs and cannabis. And I talked to the folks at the Veterinary Cannabis Education and Consulting Group out of Colorado. One of them is a veterinary oncologist, and it's a wonderful group of people. And we were breaking down cannabis use, the cannabinoids, which ones, the Delta 8, Delta 9, and the CBD and CBG, and their medical benefits. And we discussed sort of what I call the magic, the medicine, and the myths of cannabis in dogs, because there are a lot of myths, as you know. And then unfortunately, there are a lot of regulatory issues. Because I'm not sure if you know, I lost last September Hudson to cancer. And so I've been very fascinated with cannabis and pain management in dogs. And so I'm working on developing a product called Hudson's Hemp. So be on the lookout for that. I've got so many projects. I would love to. I have so many projects going on right now, but it's one of the things I'm working on, because the other thing is there are legit products out there that are working on CBD and hemp based products, but there are a lot of products that aren't legit. And I have pet parents all over looking to me and contacting me, what's legit, what's not. And as you know, it differs from state to state. So it's good that you're getting into that, because pet parents are looking for solutions out there. So wonderful that you've added that to the product line.
Thank you. And you're right. And I'm glad you're featuring experts on this area, because it is very, very confusing for the pet parent. So for sure, I appreciate that you're doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that Ginger and I, when we were talking about the show and preparing for it, Ginger's like, I want to talk about pet fashion. And she was like, no, Gila doesn't do pet fashion. I'm like, I was like, I recall the conversation very clearly. We were out on the West Coast, that she made it clear that human apparel and all of that, well, that was the main product line, but you did do dog fashion as well. But my point was that people like to talk about dog fashion. But just before we began, if we even talk about that, if you even want to, because you don't have to, you do have dog apparel, right? And dog products, right? Dog's goods, right?
We don't do dog apparel.
Oh no, I was wrong.
Yeah, we don't do dog apparel.
I told you.
Yeah, and I think there are so many amazing companies out there that have some really fun stuff. And let's face it, it is fun to get things for your dog. I personally do not dress my lab. I don't have any clothing for her. I live in Southern California, so she doesn't even need a raincoat or anything of that nature. But I absolutely love seeing those people who do. And I really think there's some people think it's crazy, but I think that it connects the people to their pet even more. Like, it's fun for them. And the dogs, I don't know how much the dogs love it, but a good collar and leash are great for me. And but I love looking at all the clothes. We just
I'm on the fence about dog fashion, because I find it fascinating. And I've met so many people on my travels. I've actually met designers that have designed whole lines of like the tiny dog outfits and whatnot. I find that I find everything fascinating, really, in life. But for me, I would never do that. You never see my Fuzzybutts, the infamous Fuzzybutts, dressed up or all gussied up. But I did see that what's trending right now are dog hoodies, and I kind of think that's cute. So
yeah.
there is a lot of fun stuff out of there. But let's talk about the market itself, because as you were saying, the pet apparel, that's just a small percentage of a much larger, bigger market. So give us an idea, how big is the pet apparel market, would you say?
Well, the pet industry as a whole eclipsed $100 billion mark just recently. And that is really significant. And it is on the rise. A big bulk of that revenue comes from the dog food industry. That would be the biggest chunk of it. Then you have veterinary care is the second biggest chunk of that pet industry as it relates. But if you look at, what is the nature of the pet parent today? So you have your largest pet ownership in the baby boomers, right? And we are, our kids are, out of the house. If you have children, they're typically grown and gone, or hopefully at this point. And your dogs are now these amazing, I refer to mine, I think that they are my babies in that regard. And I care for them with the utmost care and love and respect. And then the second biggest group, though, of pet parents are the millennials, and then you got your Gen X, right? And their mindset, their how they're living their lives is very different. Proportionately, they spend a lot more on their pets. Specifically, they're delaying or even foregoing having human children. So these fur babies are their babies, and they're into lifestyle, right? They're traveling with their pets. They're doing things with their pets. We all get to work at home. Not all, we did during 2020, but many people are still staying home with their dogs. So they're, I don't know the exact dollar value of the apparel segment of the pet industry, but it must be significant, because there are a tremendous number of apparel manufacturers for the small dog on up through the big dog, or utility like a raincoat, or the important pad protectors in very hot regions of the country in the summertime. And it continues to grow. You see them all stocked in pet stores, and on any given day, I can go downtown in my community and see dogs, wearing things. The costume industry during Halloween has skyrocketed. And again, it makes, like you, Luke, I'm very fascinated with human behavior as much as I am with dog behavior. And so I find it very interesting, this whole evolvement of the humanization of pets and where that's come from. When we were growing up as kids, and I'm assuming we're all, around that same age group, dogs, I didn't grow up with a dog, but for those who did, 9 times out of 10 or 8 out of 10 times they were in the backyard. And dogs have gone from the backyard into the bedroom and, now into our beds, and pretty much now wherever we go, they stay with us. And that whole trend has shifted and I think truly changed and impacted the way this industry is growing. And there is no end in sight. There really isn't. And the reason for that is my own hypothesis around that is, in a world where we are so connected via technology, where our lives have been made so easy, and where we expect instant gratification and communicate literally 24/7 with our phones, in that technology, as much as it's improved our lives, it has also disconnected us from each other. And if you go back to psychology class and Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of self-actualization, your basic human needs, the basic human need is to feel love, safety, and connection outside of, food, water, obviously we need that, but this need for connection. And we as a society universally are really quite disconnected. When we are with our dogs, we are deeply connected. We are not on our phones when we are interacting with our dogs. When they come in the room, we come alive and we connect. And what they do for us on a physiological level, with the release of the oxytocin and all the good chemicals that take place, we have grown, truly to need our pets to, I think. And so we give to them, it's this reciprocal thing, right? They make us feel so good. We're giving to them because we're not connecting at the same capacity as we used to as human beings many years.
God, that was so beautifully said, and there's a lot to unpack there as well. But I did want to speak particularly about the trend in pet humanization, but it does speak to the much greater trend of how we're valuing pets in our society. And there is the humanization trend where they went from the backyard, the chattel, the property, which the dog I just adopted, my Great Pyrenees I just adopted, Grayson, was basically chained to a tree in the backyard, and that's how he lost his leg. And so I actually then brought him indoors, and of course he's ungrateful now because he's become an entitled human. And that's that dovetails in something interesting I just did Sunday. Is I did a stand-up bit for the first time, and the whole bit was about how we value dogs in society, this whole pet humanization. And I tried to present the good side and the bad side, is that we want to humanize pets, but on the other end, we don't really want to communicate them to the point where when we come home after a long, hard day of earning money to pay for their super luxurious lifestyle, that we come home and they tell us, hey, go make us a steak in the kitchen. So there is the kind of the downside, the dark side of humanization. So it's a strange world that we really find ourselves with, is that what is this new relationship we have with pets? Isn't that where we're at? Don't you think?
Completely. And as a professional trainer, it's a real challenge, because when we humanize our dogs, we are forgetting and in a way dishonoring them as creatures, because they have a very specific instinctive behaviors, instinctive drives, and they seek that level of hierarchy, which is just nature in part of their nature, part of their being. And when we don't allow them to just be, now don't get me wrong, let me just clarify what I'm saying here. I know when I'm working with a young puppy and training a puppy, and I'm working with a family, I let them know right out of the gate, we're listing what are all the typical behaviors of dogs, right? And people list them all off. And they're all the behaviors, of course, that people don't want. They don't want the dog jumping or mouthing or barking or digging or, chasing after something. And yet these are what the behaviors dogs come into the world with. And we as people, as trainers, we are in essence de-dogging the dog. We are giving them a whole new set of skills that they do not come equipped with. But in the process of the humanization aspect, we're forgetting that we are still the leader, that we are still, and I don't mean in a dominant way. That's not a word that I'm even trying to emphasize. I'm just saying that there is an element of leadership when we can step up and lead well. First, I believe you got to first lead yourself well, then you got to show up and be a good leader for your dog, that you can enjoy, referring to your dog as your baby. I don't actually call mine my baby, but we just got a puppy and I called my daughter and said, hey, come over and meet your new sister. Okay. So that's, humanization of a pet. But having those boundaries where we are remembering that, yes, let's honor who they are. And that is part of the process is having that level of separation.
But it's interesting because I did read in your background that you were a trainer, and you've dealt with training dogs in your past, and that's what I've observed and witnessed from a non-scientific, a layperson standpoint, is that when let's just use here at the Morgan Manor where the Fuzzybutts Studios is housed, is that Ginger has a whole host of knuckleheads downstairs, and I have my two Fuzzybutts. And there's just this interesting dynamic in the house based on, whether I'm in the room and then whether she's in the room as well as a combination. And they look to us to try to understand the social hierarchy and the social structure. And so my first point is that dogs have an intelligence that we don't have the metrics or means to measure or understand. So first of all, we're scientifically incapable of truly understanding that their nature as nature made them. So we can't really communicate with them. So therefore we can't humanize them, right? If we humanize them, we're basically saying, whatever you're trying to say to us, it doesn't really matter. You're going to learn our language and you're going to learn how to talk our language. I'm probably, dog people listening to this are probably going to be howling now and writing.
Yeah, they're going to howl. And let me give you, let me help with what you're trying to say.
Sure. Please. I need a lot of help.
And just for the record, I still train professionally to this day. I do focus primarily on the puppy development and helping young families raise their young pups. But what is important to understand is that the dog really does have a voice, that it is important to, in a training scenario, in a dog parent dog relationship, that just like with humans, that they have the ability to have impact on their environment. And interestingly, they're communicating with us all the time. Unfortunately, we're just not listening. And there are ways to assess and learn what your dog is trying to communicate with to you, while at the same time meeting them. It's like a dance, right? And we're teaching them how to learn how we're communicating as well. And there's I could do a whole session on this alone, which I absolutely am fascinated by. When people watch me train, they're blown away that I literally don't even talk. And that is because the dog is participating. I can see it. They're giving me behavior. They're doing certain things. It's my job as the leader to recognize exactly what I want and to provide some sort of reinforcement, or it's like playing, red light, green light, right? Like, oh, nope, that's not it. That's not it. And then you're waiting for them to do what you need. And then they do it. And it's like, that was it. Maybe you're giving them a reward. I am a reward-based trainer, so I tend to do that. And it's really fun. It's so fun to make them an active participant in the learning process, and they love it. But it's important for us to understand that it should be a symbiotic, mutually respectful relationship where there is cross connection and communication.
It's a partnership, as you put it perfectly. It is a partnership. And I can speak to this not as a layperson. I can actually speak to this as an expert for somebody who has backpacked 4,000 miles on the road with my companions and who put their lives in my hand. So I'm an expert at that. And I can assure you, we had a system of communication that was trained, that we trained with, that was clear and was precise, that I communicated consistently and articulated over a long period of time. And that took time and training to establish as partners on the road. So, well, I'm not an expert in training anywhere out of that field. I'm certainly understand the power and the importance of having that communication, because our lives we're constantly at risk. And I'm not sure if you know what we're about to embark on walk 3 from the Adirondacks to New York City along the Hudson River in honor of Hudson, who I just lost to cancer. And so my 3-legged Pyrenees, Grayson, and I are going to do this 300-mile walk. And so he's three-legged. So it's going to be a new operating environment for me. And so communication now is going to be, that partnership is going to be a lot more important as well. So powerfully put and important that this is a partnership. And it's a new partnership. It's a relatively new partnership. I like that you put that too. Historically, this partnership that exists between pets and people is really only 1 or 2 generations old. So we still have a lot of work to do. And Ginger, you can speak to that because you were involved with training for a while as well. Please.
I did. And I did puppies. I love training puppies. I did some group classes, and I love to see, the wheels turn when you're trying to get them to do something. And then when they get it, they get so excited and they get the big rewards, because I also do reward-based training. But I just love to see puppies, just learn and discover life. I don't know. I fostered 7 puppies a couple of years ago, and I did keep one of them, but they were 4 weeks old when I got them. So everything that they learned was just, it was new. It was all new to them. Grass was new to them. It was amazing. And I was so scared I would do something wrong, because they only had me. They didn't have their dog mom. They only had Mommy G, as I call myself. So I had so much fun with that, but I just love training puppies.
I love that, Ginger. That's awesome.
Now,
Thanks.
Yeah, she's the boat, as we say. I was about to say Dr. Morgan. I made a mistake on a previous episode of calling her Dr. Morgan. So I need to start introducing you as Dr. Morgan from here on out. But what's funny, this totally segues into something I wanted to talk about next, is that where are we drawing the line with dogs in our society and how they're kind of dominating the culture. And let's talk briefly about dogs as pets as social influencers and social media. So talk about that trend, or are you active on social media? Do you use that?
Our company does. I am not a huge social media user, but I think with our new puppy that I'll probably become a lot more present on the core platforms that people have. This is a trend, and it is definitely not going away. People, again, for the same reason that we all have dogs, we love to connect with dogs. It brings us pleasure. It reduces our anxiety. It is just a great outlet. And so it has become quite the business for people who have dogs that are basically social influencers. It is a business where they also can generate revenue and income streams as a result of their dog's likeness and, promoting brands and things like that. And I just think that this is just part of society, and I don't think that it's going away. And I don't really have an opinion of right or wrong on it. I love entrepreneurship. So I love that people are, that they can monetize and have fun with it, and then bring joy to other people as well through it.
Exactly. It's interesting because dogs now are taking over social media to the point that they're amassing millions of followers. They actually have their own language. They say words like humans and fans, friends. But what's interesting now is they're starting to have their own currency, Dogecoin. I'm not sure if you know about Doge or Dogecoin.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Doge means dogs in the crypto world, and that was also part of my comedy skit. Is that they're now taking over social media as influencers, and they have spending power. So I'm not sure if these are two good trends for dogs and going in our direction, but it's an interesting social phenomenon, as you were saying.
Yes.
But I want to go back to something you were saying a second ago, which is something I love about your business model, Gila, something I love that you do and you promote, and that is entrepreneurship. You spoke to it early on in the beginning. Part of your business model is licensing, and that's licensing to help out other business owners around the country. Talk to us about that, because actually that's how, before you do that, because actually that's how you and I met. I think we all met was through Valerie Codman
Yes.
in Connecticut. and she's an entrepreneur herself, and a big supporter of Dog is Good. And so she is a business owner that I know personally that you've helped out. So talk about that program.
Yeah, so that program is actually our pop-up shop program. And that is my favorite part of everything that we do with our company, is our pop-up shop program. And this is why. This is an opportunity for dog lovers to collaborate with an established brand, Dog is Good, to create a business of their own. And the relationship that we have with these pop-up shops is that wholesaler to retailer relationship. It is their business, but as they are building their business, we are providing guidance and support. And they are mobile stores. They are literally outfitting their own mobile store with a whole host of our products, with our products that are produced by our licensees, the other companies that make products with our same messaging on them. And they are setting up at events. Many of them do the puppy up events, but the opportunity really has expanded. They've gone from just doing events to showing up at conferences and meetings to ending up as trunk shows in existing retail stores, from women's boutiques to coffee shops to pet stores. They go into places of business, corporations, for employees as a special fun day. They go into vet offices during lunch hour, and many of them will attach a nonprofit organization as their cause. So there's a win-win for people having fun, having an experience, purchasing, and then portions of proceeds go to a cause. And so that program really has expanded. My goal is to help 125 people this year. I take it super seriously. So we only bring on a small number per month because we work so closely with them on strategy, their launch process. And I've learned a lot throughout this whole program development. And then the back side of it is our Dig Direct. So for individuals who want to have a business that do not want to have a mobile store that they are stocking full of inventory, they can still collaborate with the Dog is Good brand as basically a brand ambassador / affiliate, and create revenue for themselves that way in the form of like a mini pop, which we're starting this year, and it's very exciting. So a lot of opportunity there for entrepreneurs.
Well, that was a perfect dovetail. And the next thing I wanted to discuss as well, you're almost going through my bullet points line by line, but the wonderful work that you do with charity and for charity. Gila, talk about that.
So as a company, we've always been very focused and committed on our give back. We've done quite a number of things over the course of the years. Typically, we'll sponsor an organization for an entire year. That's kind of how we started. And we're always, when people request stuff, we're always, giving things to different organizations. But this year, we launched our own nonprofit organization. One of our pop-up shops, owner Leslie Mate, decided to be the founder for the nonprofit for us. And so she created the Dog is Good for Good Foundation. And it is a separate entity from Dog is Good. And it's an ecosystem where we are supporting that organization as well. And there's two things that organization does. It seeks out to support hyper-local nonprofit organizations that have a little bit more challenge in fundraising and provide extra support and to create a larger awareness for them. We just completed a great program with our Never Read Alone program, and selected 3 different organizations to support with that. And then we also are launching next month our pilot program called the Bolo Project. The Bolo Project, its mission is creating inspired future leaders and go-givers. This is a program for teenagers, 10th through 12th grade. The focus is built on 3 pillars where we are going to be giving them access to the world of mindset, personal development, and goal setting, leadership training and skill development, and then they will engage in an animal welfare project or a project to support animal welfare. and get their community service hours with that. So we're really excited to pilot that. We know that there are real serious things, challenges the past couple of years for that age group. I mean, youth in general, for sure, but that particular age group. And we want to give them a leg up on what we believe are important life skills in terms of how they think, how they set goals, their outlook on life, and how they lead themselves.
Well, that's just wonderful work that you're doing, Gila. That's just phenomenal. And there's a ton there. You're doing so much. I remember that was my perfect memory of you.
No, I need to slow down.
Oh, no,
Well,
when she's
exactly.
asleep.
I'm the opposite. I would tell you to go faster. You and I are cut from
Yeah,
the same
you and I,
cloth.
we are cut from the same cloth.
I'm never
for sure.
slowed. I'm never the slow down guy. We're going too slow. We need to speed up until I careen and usually hit something. But I hit something and get back up and keep going again. But you and I are the same way. So I don't want to heap something onto your already big pile of tremendous commitments. I don't want to do that, but I want to pitch you an idea here on Fuzzybutts and Friends, because that's this is my show and that's what I do. But I am about to walk. But I am about to walk 300 miles for my beloved Hudson, and that's him right there, and the painting, this wonderful painting that was done for him, and so in conjunction with Walk 3, we are going to launch a new program with the Puppy Up Foundation called Hudson's Hope, and it's a fund that will pay for cancer treatment, cancer care. For the first time, Puppy Up is doing cancer care, not just research, but cancer treatment. And so we want to do a shirt in honor of that. So that will include Hudson's Hope, and the recipients of the funds are going to be called Hudson's Heroes. So we would like to work and collaborate with Dog is Good on a Hudson's Hope and Hudson's Heroes shirt and something, and have that available, because we're going to the Walk 3 is going to be the fundraiser for the Hudson's Hope Fund. And so we would love to have these shirts available. Actually, would love to wear one of these shirts on my wall. I'm getting teary-eyed right now.
I just thought of a great shirt for this. And I would just need to do a little redesign. But so one of the things that we are magical with is creating messaging that, yes, is relevant and very meaningful to you and your organization. And at the same time, for people who don't know your organization or you, it has meaning in their own life too. And so I feel like the sentiment, everybody or everyone, something like that, needs a hero. Everyone needs a hero, and then Dog is in that. We've done something like.
I love it. I love this. I love this sentiment. Yeah.
So there's like a double entendre there, and then it appeals to all the things. But yes, I would love to do that, and then we could donate a portion of the proceeds to you, and maybe Dog is Good for Good Foundation will be take the lead in that with us, and we'll donate through our foundation too.
And we'll make sure, like I want all the recipients of the grants for Hudson's Heroes. I want them to receive a care package from the Puppy Up Foundation. And hopefully there's a wonderful company, Canine Biologics, that has a starter kit for food for dogs that are just going through cancer care for the first time, that we want to hopefully include in that. And I would love for the parents to have this shirt or something like that to make this,
or a hat,
any type of merchandise. That's the vision I've had for a while. So I've been bothering Ginger, my occasional co-producer, certainly the scheduler. Ginger, when are you going to talk to Gila to get on the show? Because I want to get this. Good. Thank you. I was hoping
we'll make that happen. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it. All right. That's kind of all the things that I wanted to go through that I have on my list. Ginger. Well, first of all, Gila, is there anything that you want to, I did forget. I had to bring it back down to something I forgot earlier. And reviewing the script, Ginger pointed out that you have a new puppy, and I forgot to put that talk about your Fuzzybutts in the talking point. I was making the funny observation that, I somehow omitted talking about your Fuzzybutts on Fuzzybutts and Friends. So tell us about the new addition to your house, please. Your Fuzzybutts.
Okay. Well, first I want to highlight my heart dog, Bolo, who is my yellow lab, BOLO. It's the name of our logo dog. And Bolo has been such a great help in welcoming this new puppy to the home. And This new puppy is also a yellow Labrador Retriever. We could not think of a name. I mean, I had a name all picked out, and my heart was set on it. And then when we got her, I was like, oh, it just isn't, it's not working. So her name is Emmy. That's the name that we settled on. And she's just a delight. Just, I mean, and really, I'm going to write about this. The joy already, like we took her. So for all the veterinarians who might be listening to your show, I love and respect you so much. And but there are safe ways to socialize a puppy, so they don't have to stay enclosed in the four walls of your home until they're fully vaccinated. And one of the easiest ways, especially when a puppy's so little, is just to take it out. So we went out for coffee, and she's not being put down on the ground or anything like that. So we just go out for 30 minutes. And of course, you just see people, like they see you walking and they cannot stand it. And they even say, they're like, oh my gosh. And you just see them light up. And I just love how dogs change people. And it's a beautiful thing. So I'm sure I'm going to meet a lot of neighbors as we just connecting to see that there's actually life outside of the four walls of the house.
That certainly is the message for all of us here, is that the dogs are magical that way. They change people. I call them the inflection point in our life, and it sounds like Bolo was been the inflection point in your
For
life.
sure. Yes.
That's a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing that, your Fuzzybutts. We'll make sure in future episodes that we don't disinclude, or we certainly include, the Fuzzybutts in our actual script for the Fuzzybutts and Friends show. On that note, Ginger, about Fuzzybutts, something we certainly don't want to miss every episode is kind of another part of our mission, and that is canine cancer tips. So Ginger with the Puppy Up Foundation has one of those for us this episode. Take it away.
I do, but I want to speak to something that Gila had said. You're not supposed to get your puppies out until they've had all their shots, but you can take them out. I had such a hard time socializing my puppies, the 7 that I had, because it was during COVID. So I literally stopped people walking down in front of my house and said, could you come look at these puppies? Because I wanted to get them acclimated to different types of people, not just me. So I stopped men with beards and hats and, different ethnic groups and men, women, children. It was so funny. And they're pretty well-rounded for being so isolated. So I'm glad that you get that. And don't put them down.
Yes.
So my cancer tip is, I'm kind of going through, we have a 10 L's, so early warning signs for cancer, on our website, and Indiana is going to chime in. So one of the things is a bloody discharge, or if anybody sees blood in their dogs, they're throwing up and there's blood in it, or they're having diarrhea, there's blood in it, or if they have like a nasal discharge with it, whether it has blood or not, you should probably see your veterinarian. Don't just say, okay, well, maybe they ate something. Sometimes it could be a piece of grass or something that cut something before it comes out one end or the other. But, watch them and then take them to your veterinarian, because you never know when it could turn out to be cancer.
Well, that's a great, that's just one of the greatest tips, and one of the best tips, because Fuzzybutt number 2, Murphy, that I lost to cancer, was nasal adenocarcinoma, and the bloody discharge in his instance was from his sinuses from his nose. And we had just finished walk 1, and within weeks, I was in Memphis. I was out in Colorado working on the book with Ed, and he was with you, and he was snotty nosed, and then you found some blood. And we went and got it treated with antibiotics at first, and then that didn't resolve it. And then we were thinking, oh goodness, and we took him out to Colorado State University and got the diagnosis. And still, that all happened within weeks, people. Within weeks, folks. This all happened within weeks, from the time that there was blood discharged out of the nose to took him to Colorado State University, the premier one of the premier vet schools in the country. And the cancer was already so well advanced that it was inoperable. So at the first time you see any type of unusual, atypical discharge from your dog, really just take it in and get it checked out. So Ginger, thank you on behalf of the Puppy Up Foundation. And all joking aside, this has been a fun and lofty episode, but we want to bring down the house to the very, very serious point, and that's why we're here. One of the reasons why we're here on Fuzzybutts and Friends, and the other reason why we're here on Fuzzybutts and Friends, is to have wonderful guests like Gila Kurtz here today to share her wonderful mission of Dogvergnügen, which I'm sure I screwed up again. So my apologies for that. I'm going to have to practice that for the next time, because that's the other thing I wanted to say is that Gila, you're with the message that you deliver on the apparel and all the wonderful things and the lifestyle that you promote there with Dog is Good. You truly are a friend of the Fuzzybutts. So this is an open platform here for you anytime.
Well, I thank you, Luke and Ginger. You guys do such tremendous work, and I appreciate the level of education that you are taking to the public, as well as just the tremendous support that you have for those going through a very difficult process and time in their lives. So it's been an honor, and I thank you both. And so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been an honor. We will actually have you back on next time when we talk about the whatever we develop for Hudson's Hope and Hudson's Heroes.
Let's do it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Okay.
All right, Ginger, unless I screwed something up again, I'm going to wrap this thing up. That concludes this episode of Fuzzybutts and Friends. Puppy up. Talk soon.